Hi everyone, it's Laisha with F The Stigma. I'm here to let you know that FTS is a nonprofit organization and we have recently launched a medication assistance program to help fellow Marylanders get access to their necessary mental health medications. You can apply today on our website at fthestigma.com. You can also support this cause and program on our website as well. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Kind of toasty sitting right here in a greenhouse in the valley, but I'm really happy I'm sitting here with
the
you.
Acid house?
The acid house.
That's what I said earlier, the acid house. It's like we're in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Welcome back to the FTS Podcast, Aaron. Yes. I had you back a year and I had you on initially a year and a half ago.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
Yeah.
It seems like it was not long ago at all, actually, but it was.
How are you doing today? Like,
I'm fine.
I feel like when we initially talked, we spoke on, because I was personally curious. Like, I've never had anybody on the podcast that struggled with autism or OCD, and we were kind of like getting down in the nitty and gritty of what that looks like for you.
FASD. We talked a lot about that, the FASD stuff and OCD. Yeah, I think since we talked, my mental health has been a lot better.
Really? How so?
Well, I think I'm less. Well, okay, it's yes and no. I think I'm more or less anxious. Well, no, I'm always anxious. I think I'm more or less in my head than I was then. I kind of like feeling more like sorry for myself, I would say.
You feel more sorry for yourself?
No, I was then. I kind of more like my life. Like it's like I think it was kind of very hard. My mental health was just bad in a way of like, kind of like I don't know, just like life was just like extremely like difficult.
Yeah. What were you? You were like but you were couch surfing and.
Here's the thing. When you deal with what I deal with, autism, FASD, again, my psychologist doesn't. I'm back and forth the FASD thing because my psychologist doesn't even think I have FASD.
Really?
No, my mom does. My psychologist doesn't. So that's very like back in my. I just say I do because that's what I was diagnosed with. So it's very like in my head of like I don't like bro like there could be tons of things wrong with me, but at the end of the day I just go off of what I was told that I have.
Of course.
But that comes with a lot of things with like living and things like that. It's very hard for me to kind of make it to constantly have somewhere to always like it's hard for me to keep a rhythm of what I'm trying to do in my like how to explain it. It's hard for me to keep my life in order. Yeah. Very hard. So even last time we talked couch surfing, it's very like I'm telling you my life is always falling apart. No matter what, no legit like no matter if I have money coming in, if I don't have any money, my life is always falling apart because I don't. It's mainly people I don't get. It's hard for me to get along with people.
Why do you think it's? How like specifically is it hard?
They don't understand my autism. That's the problem. They don't understand my issues, my OCD. They don't understand my OCD. So say if I have a roommate, that roommate is going to get sick of me and be like, "What is wrong with you, Aaron? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you say these things? Why when I joke with you, why do you go right to you're feeling offensive? No, you're going to your offensive part of you, like where you get like you're trying to back yourself up, you're getting already angry, upset, freaking out. You know, it's like, well, Aaron, I was joking with you. Why you take everything so serious? So that's what I live with for a lot of people. So it's very hard for me to have a roommate because I don't get along with people that well. I'll be honest with you. I have friends in Los Angeles, but I don't get. They say that, but like my friend said, it takes a special person to be my friend because I don't get along with people that well. Not that I'm mean to people, but I offend
What are
people.
like certain like how do you offend somebody?
The first thing that comes to my mind is like, how does it feel to be a lesbian? I don't know. I find my offend. That's like one of the questions I'm gonna ask you. It's like, yeah. But you might get offended by that, right? Well, you might not, but other people might.
Yeah, for sure. If you say like you were walking down the street and you may have perceived somebody to be a lesbian, and you just went up to them and asked them that, they'd be like, "What's wrong with you, dude? Why? That's so rude and offensive." But me personally, yeah, You would be lucky asking me that because I really.
So how does it feel to be a lesbian?
It feels good.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. I mean,
So
there was a place in time, like there's a time in my life where I didn't love it.
Could you ever tell yourself not being a lesbian?
I've tried to.
You been with a guy before? What do you like better, guys or girls?
Girls, clearly.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where does it come from, you think?
I'm
You think
sure
you're
just like that's just the way my brain works and my preference.
It's just it's interesting. So like you think you were born lesbian?
I don't know. That's a good. I mean, I'll
You
never
think
know.
lesbian and gay is the same thing?
I mean, it depends on the context. Like sometimes I'll say yeah I'm gay, even though I really mean yeah I'm a lesbian. But yeah, there was a time in my life where like there was that part of like figuring that out. I didn't like some people's experiences was like yeah I was born I kind of always knew I was attracted to the same sex. But for me, that wasn't that wasn't the case for me.
Is people mean to you? More people mean to you for being a lesbian.
It's not like them being mean to me for being a lesbian. It's like a straight guy being like, yeah, I can turn you. Or
interesting.
Or like
That's interesting.
maybe yeah, you just haven't had the right dude
I've
yet.
had that mindset before.
So you've believed that.
Or if I really liked a girl and she was a lesbian. Okay, say Samantha here was like a lesbian, and if I really liked her, and I'd be like, I think I would. What would it take for me to make her straight?
Yeah, and that's like not a good thing to do.
Interesting.
It's like, it's kind of like disrespecting them.
Ah.
Because it's like that's my truth, and if you thought you could turn me, you're just like really not respecting me as a person or what's coming out of my mouth. You know what I mean?
There's a so being a lesbian. Oh, we're not talking all about lesbian stuff.
Yeah.
But so you like being a lesbian?
I'm like really comfortable and I've accepted the fact that I'm a lesbian today. Like for in the beginning where I like realized I had this attraction to women, it was very it was just confusing.
Yeah.
Because there was that confusion of like maybe I do still like men in that way. Huh. But then having my experiences and realizing, yeah, I don't want to be with men sexually, emotionally, romantically.
Why is that?
It's just like my body tells me like what's comfortable and what's not.
You think men are less attractive than women?
I guess in a sense. Yeah.
Interesting. Like the hairy and stuff?
Women have hair too.
I think it's more gross on a woman to have hair than a guy. Maybe.
Why do you think you're so curious about like the LGBT community and like lesbians? Like why do you think like
a lot of gay and lesbian people follow me?
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is, it's just interesting. People think I'm gay. I'm not.
How does that make you feel?
Well, I think the people who say I'm gay, I think they're secretly gay, actually.
Didn't you? I remember when we last spoke, you thought you had this fear that you were gonna turn gay.
I did. That kind of fear went away. I was very like, and then I know people want to say, yeah, I'm homophobic. I'm not homophobic, but people would. I had a fear of OCD related. I thought I was worried that I'd be attracted to other men. Mm-hmm. I still do think that. Sometimes.
But it's not as controlling.
If I start thinking about it now, I start thinking I'm attracted to you. There's a guy in front of me. I remember being with a friend of mine and going like, I would go to like a Starbucks, and I would look around to see if they're gay or not. And I want to drink. If they were gay, I want to drink the cup they made. Like if they were gay, I wouldn't drink the Starbucks drink that they handed me.
Yeah.
So I would go around, seeking out like, okay, I have a good gaydar. I know who's gay or not. I'm very good at that. Probably might be better than you at it, even though you're gay. I'm very good at it. That's like a talent of mine. So I know instantly someone's gay or not. Probably a lesbian too. So I would like go to Starbucks, or in Starbucks places are usually where gay people work. They like to work at Starbucks, gay people. So I would know. I instantly like, okay, that guy has blue hair. He talks really high. He's gay.
And then you're just like, he made my coffee. I'm not gonna drink out of that. Yeah.
That's like an OCD. It's not because I don't. It's not that I just. It's not like, oh, I hate gay people. It's because my OCD. It would make me feel like if I touch this drink, it would bring me memories, visions of like, what if I'm attracted to that guy?
That's really real. And like you're not the only person that I know that struggles with that.
OCD is a huge thing with gay. It's like if you look at OCD, it's a huge thing of gay. It's
wow.
like being attracted to worrying about being attracted to the
same
different-
gender.
the T gender. Yep. But it's like a thing I've struggled with since I was little.
And that's still something you struggle with today. Did you say
time.
it was getting a little better?
It's getting way better because I've gotten to the point where I've accepted it, understanding that I can shake a gay person hand, I can hug a gay person now. I'm very like now understanding that that's not real, you know, and that's like it's almost coming off of like hatred, almost coming off as like it seems like I'm finding them disgusting. It almost comes off like that, but end of the day, there's a backstory behind it. There's a long story behind it.
Rationally, and when you're thinking logically, you know you're not gonna turn gay from drinking that cup of coffee.
No, but it's the intrusive thoughts that come in my brain.
So it's like, how does one really not let that intrusive thought control them? Like, what is your process?
Well, my process by doing the exactly thing that your brain's telling you not to do. So maybe if I'm thinking that, I'm not saying go hook with a guy, but it's saying like, go shake that guy's hand, go hug that gay guy, you know, tell him you love him, you know. That's what my brain needs to, you know. I've kind of worked through that whole process. I was like a little, you know, so it'd be like, yeah, it's gotten way better. So but with OCD, other things trigger me. It's a lot of like things. It'd be like more things will come up, and my brain would just trick me and make things really bad for me.
Yeah.
All the time. OCD is a terrible thing to live with.
What are like other intrusive thoughts that?
Oh my gosh. Well, crap. A lot of things. Like, sometimes I'll be like, well, this is very normal, but it's like if you're driving, it's like sometimes I think about what if I crash this car right now?
Mm-hmm. And it's like clearly you're not gonna like do the exposure therapy and like crash and go into the.
I'm not gonna crash my car.
Yeah.
I love my car, but sometimes I will think about that. Like, you know, I'm thinking like, man, what if I just crash it, take us off a cliff?
Mm-hmm.
You know, life would be a lot easier maybe if I just crashed my car. Bye, Aaron.
But the main thing you do with OCD treatment, of course, like for not all things, but most things, is like the treatment for that would be exposure therapy.
Yeah, so I've done a lot. I've been going to therapy. Like I've been seeing a doctor like my entire life, pretty much with OCD stuff. But that was different type of stuff. That was like, because it change. OCD changes. First, I was dealing with a lot of contamination. I was dealing with intrusive thoughts was always a big thing for me. But intrusive thoughts, like God, I always constantly thinking God's gonna punish me. That's a huge thing for me. That's still a thing. I talk about it all the time, actually.
Like, give an example.
Oh, I constantly think God's gonna punish me. If I do something against what the Bible says, I think God's gonna punish me. So let's say, how by making my life bad. So it's like let's say if I make out with, this is an example. Let's say if I make out with Samantha here, right? We make out, and things get a little crazy, a little too far.
Yeah.
We go like crazy, like, you know, like I go beyond my imagination, right? So now my brain was like telling me God's gonna punish you, right? And let's say if I get in a car crash, me and Samantha get in a car crash, I look at Samantha. Man, that was a punishment. I think we shouldn't have done that. You know, I think God has punished us there. So that is what happens. I feel like it's certain things like that. You know, like little things will happen in my life, and I think if I do something bad, I would think that if I do this certain thing, and it falls apart, like my whole life falls apart. I think about, oh, this is God punishing me right now, and it's like, but I know God doesn't punish you. You know,
yeah.
He doesn't. I don't know if you believe in God, but I believe in God. But He doesn't.
You believe in a not punishing God?
I believe. Well, God loves us. God loves me. God loves me, and you know, He loves me a lot. And He doesn't punish. It's the demons. It's evil. It's the devil making my brain wanting to think my life is failing, wanting me to fail. But God is really, at the end of the day, trying to protect me and like my mind. It's the devil, like saying, like, no, Aaron, you're falling apart. Your life's falling apart.
And you identify as a Christian. That's like
Christian,
a huge part of your identity.
A huge part of my life is being a Christian. I love, you know, I'm not a fake Christian.
What does that mean?
There's a lot of fake Christians out there. I call them fake Christians. Fake Christians who are not open, who will who pretend to be super nice, and to pretend like they don't sin, they don't struggle with things, but they're the ones who are actually doing the bad stuff. I feel like the difference with me is like I'm open about my bad stuff. I'll talk about, I deal with lust, I deal with certain things out loud to people, to my friends, and I don't go around deceiving I'm a good Christian. I'm a messed up Christian. I'll be honest with you. I'm telling you, bro, I'm a messed up Christian.
Why do you say that?
Because I am. I'm like, I call myself a hypocrite a lot, don't I? I call myself a hypocrite a lot.
I love that you own that.
Because it's like I preach sometimes, like even online, about like this way I want to live, or I live this way, but at the end of the day, sometimes I go back in time like, nah, I'm not even, I'm doing the opposite I'm even talking about, because I literally am like, I'm living in lust right now. But I will talk about against, maybe I'll talk about against lust, to friends or people anywhere, but then I'm committing it. Yeah. So that's why I will go back in time like, I'm a hypocrite, bro. So yeah.
That's sick. I'm like happy that you own that. But
yeah, bro. I could. That's what goes down to.
Because when you live in that lie, it's like that makes it 10 times worse.
So that's why I go back to as a fake. I feel like a fake Christian, Christians who won't admit to that. I look at, are they an actual Christian? And I define as a Christian. You know what a Christian is, right?
Yeah.
It's a follower of Christ. I identify as a follower of Christ. I don't look at myself. I'm not religious. No, not religious. I do not say I'm a religion. I just say I'm a follower of Christ. I just live how Jesus wants me to live. That's what I try to go by. So I kind of follow his footsteps, and I try not to. Well, that also makes So I just kind of, whatever he wants me to do, I try to go by what he wants me to do. Instead of saying like putting rules on it. If I put rules on it, it makes it like makes it even harder for me, but also makes me feel like it's not, Jesus doesn't want me to live by rules. He wants me to live by how he wants me to walk like him.
I get it.
So that's what a follower of Christ is.
I feel like rules make things unattractive and makes you not want to do it.
It makes it harder.
Yeah.
Like Mormons have rules.
Mormons? I grew up Mormon.
You grew up Mormon?
Yeah.
No way.
It doesn't have like that significant of like a place in my head.
I like the Mormons, but not, well, no. I have a thing about, I've done a lot of research on Mormons. I have a lot of things about the Mormons.
Why? What?
Well, the false teaching. Uh-oh. That's another argument.
Is it? No, I don't. Elaborate.
No, the false teaching. Like,
what is that?
Well, false teaching mean the Mormons believe that Jesus isn't God. They believe Jesus is a prophet. I believe Jesus is God. I believe that one person. They don't believe that they believe that. They also believe that someone else. They believe that like, Joseph Smith. This is the guy. You know Joseph Smith, right? If you're a Mormon,
Bro, I told you it doesn't hold the special place in my mind and heart.
Okay. Well, we don't have to talk about this for long, but Joseph Smith was a prophet. That was someone that he called himself a prophet. That he saw Jesus, or an angel spoke to him, something like that. I don't know the full story about it, but he did claims to be a prophet. At the end of the day, and he made the Book of Mormon, and that was like it's like adding on to the Bible says not to add on. And he added on to the Bible, which is against God's rule.
Do you think there's there's a right belief spiritually and religiously? Because there's so many religions and beliefs, and so you believe there's a right one.
I believe there's a right one. Argue or not, I don't like to argue religion, because I do argue religion. Religion and Christianity. I like to put what I believe. You can believe what you want. You can believe what you want. You can believe what you want.
But you think your way is the right way?
I believe that what the Bible says is what the Bible says. That's what I believe. I don't take.
And you believe it as truth.
I don't take away, nor do I add.
Yeah.
I don't take away, nor do I add. Whatever the Bible says, it says. I don't think that to me it's not something that I want to take away or add. And that's what I believe. I believe that
Also, I really like your shirt.
You like my autism shirt?
Actually, do you have like a spare? I want one.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. It's my merchandise.
Really?
Yeah.
So I could go online and buy it?
Yeah.
Do you actually love autism though?
I do. Actually, somebody at my Bible study asked me that. They're like, he asked me like, you know those people who don't believe in ADHD, don't believe in autism? They're like, oh, it's a made up thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Blows my mind that.
What people feel like it's not, even people believe that mental health isn't a real thing.
Yeah.
Mental health, autism, ADHD, ADD, OCD is all a real thing. Autism can't be cured. FASD can't be cured. OCD can be cured to an extent. ADD can't be cured. These can't be cured. They can be helped. They can be cured. I believe that, when people say to you like, oh, like, autism isn't a real thing, ADD isn't a real thing. It's just you need Jesus. That's what people kind of say that. Jesus gave me autism. He wants me to live with autism. It's like the same thing if Jesus gave someone AIDS, or cancer, or whatever, He gives you these people. Now, at the end of the day, it comes down to there's some people, that's a good thing, a bad thing, right? Autism for me could be a bad thing, right? But I look at it as a good thing because it's giving me the skill that if I wasn't autistic, I wouldn't be able to do the things I can do, like skateboarding, music.
Really?
Oh no, I know. I want to be able to come with ideas I have. I want to be able to build the social media that I've built. There's so many things that come with autism. While I love it, but I also hate it at the same time because it comes with a lot of social skills too. Yeah. Because I suck at an environment. I can socialize people, but I come off of rude to a lot of people. I come off you're offensive, rude. You take things too far. You take your jokes too far because you don't know when the joke ends. You don't understand jokes. My mom thinks I need to be in a group home because my living skills suck. So it's like a lot of things come with autism, but I look at the bigger picture. Like, well, I can skateboard. I can do kickflip and rollerblades. I can pick up any instrument and learn it very quickly if I really wanted to. There's a lot of things that come with autism that why I love it, and it makes me who I am.
Yeah.
If I wasn't autistic, I wouldn't be Aaron. I would be some normal black person. Boring, So yeah, that's why
I love that perspective.
So this shirt I made also comes from so when I was working at when I'm out and about, I would do weird things. People kind of will look at me weird, strange. I might mess up. I might say the wrong thing, and this shirt will protect me. It will protect me.
It's like your armor.
It's like people look at it like, oh, he is. They might ask me, are you autistic or do you love autism? I'm like, well, I'm both. I love autistic and I love autism and I'm autistic. But so that kind of saved me a little bit, and it's also kind of funny. So it's not I'm walking like a walking blue, like a blue tag, a blue parking pass, like a blue handicap. I'm not a walking handicap sign, but it kind of because it also brings me some kind of humor. So it brings humor into it. Also telling people I'm autistic. Also, saying I love autism. So there's a lot of anyway. Yeah. So I have a story behind it. It's not. I love that. It's not just I'm wearing a shirt out because I'd be contradicting myself. I want to introduce that. I have a sister, right?
I didn't know you have a sister. I knew you had a brother.
Looks just like me. We look like twins.
You and your sister?
Yep. She's a lesbian.
Your biological sister?
Yep.
Because you were adopted. So were you all adopted?
No, I was adopted. My brother Sean, Joe. Me, we were adopted. And then my mom, my biological mom, had two other kids, Jalen and Leanna. And my mom tried to get Leanna, but they want to give her. I think something happened. They want to give my adopted mom, Leanna, which is my biological sister, and I have a brother Jalen, who's my other biological brother. Half, well, of course, all half, but yeah. Yeah. That's okay. But anyway, yeah, I was adopted by an all-white family.
How does that feel?
Well,
does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me, but I don't know how to be black. I mean, I say the N-word time to time, but I don't know how to act like a black person. I don't know what.
Do you feel like you have to act black because you're black? What does it even mean to act black?
I don't know. Ghetto, gangster.
Really, you think?
I don't know. Hood.
But do you think you're like
Will Smith?
Do you think you're putting all black people in a box?
I probably am. I don't know. I love black people, though. I love being black. So, but that's not the question, though. I remember I was telling you.
That's not the question, though.
Remember I was telling you, I was like, oh, Mads, is he hitching you?
Yes.
Who do you take me for, Aaron?
I was saying. I was thinking that like interesting.
I'm happily married.
Are you married?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I'm in a
Do you have a
relationship.
girlfriend?
Yeah.
What? How long have you been dating for?
8 months.
What? Do you like her a lot?
Yeah. I would say I love her.
And you can get married in California now, right?
I think I can get married almost anywhere.
Interesting. Okay. A question. You were asking a question before we forget. You were gonna ask a question.
I did have a question. So it kind of stems on like the race thing we were just talking about. Like, I literally just recently got a comment, and I like people on the internet are wild, and they will say their things, and it's something that I wouldn't say it like bugs me to the core, but it's very interesting to see people's takes and opinions. They were like, I feel like this is a white girl trying to be black. And I'm sure I don't have that much Caucasian in me. Like, I'm both of my parents born and raised in Dominican Republic. A lot of like the background in Dominican culture is black.
Yeah.
So I just think it's funny that I've wanted like my whole life to be white. So it's like maybe that I would have felt happy about that comment years back, but now I'm like, wait, I'm kind of in a place of like owning my culture.
That's crazy. I had the
and
same
who I am.
exact experience with you, like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. We're very similar in that way. I wanted to be white as a kid.
Mm-hmm. But now you're like,
now I love being black. It's like but I still want to say like I feel like if I need to back and later on in life I need to say I'm white, I can say I'm white. It all depends on because I'm black and white, but right now I can say I'm black because it's 2025. It's more cool to be black.
You think? Do you
like A$AP Rocky? He's black.
Do you
Tyler Creator,
think?
he's black.
Do you think you want to be? Do you think we both wanted to be white because there's this privilege with being white?
You look me growing up in a church, an all Baptist church, pretty much all white people, pretty much. I feel like I wasn't accepted enough because I thought if I'm a mixed black person coming to this church and everyone else is pretty much white, and I'm always looked down upon, and I feel like, man, they're all white, blonde, perfect looking people, and I'm dirty, I'm black, and it's like when you see these like white blonde people, it feels like, man, they're like perfect skin, look cool, clean, always clean. White people always like clean, like white, when you're white you feel like you're clean, and a black person feels like you're just
what an unfiltered way to put it, because I feel like that's how a lot of people perceive that.
And not black person dirty, but you're just like you're just black.
That's just so far from the truth. Like,
well, I think black people, but that's the thing too. I think people think that black people are like gonna rob you or something like that.
Yeah, there's a stigma with them.
Or it's like if you're black, you're just black. I mean, there's nothing to say. Just like, I don't know, but white people have like a certain like. I mean, I'd rather date a white person than a black person.
Why?
White people are just, I mean, smooth, white.
But do you see how that's like kind of a negative way of
Probably
believing?
I don't know.
Because like what on earth would make it that like a black person would be considered not that?
I don't know.
Like, you're black. Do you see yourself as like partially dirty? Or
I don't
less than?
I don't think I'm dirty. I don't think black people are dirty. I don't think black people are dirty, but I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I think people look at you, all white people, white people look at a black person like disgust, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Growing up, I just felt just like they don't talk to me because I'm black.
That's how you felt, yeah.
Yeah, or things like that. So I would try to dress white. I remember bleaching my hair blonde. I remember getting straightener for my hair. I was looking like Michael Jackson. I would wear skinny jeans. I would come in like flipping my hair like Justin Bieber, like hoping people look at me like, oh, he's a white person now.
Yeah.
And maybe people would like me, accept me more.
I'm telling you, there's probably maybe nobody else on earth that I would be having this conversation with so unfiltered.
Ask me.
But because these are the thoughts that nobody says, but some people think. And like we witness it here in the 21st century. Like, I know people in my day-to-day life that perceive people of color that way.
Interesting. Yeah.
And nobody says it publicly. Yeah. But like, so I appreciate that. But another question I had was, I've personally seen it on your platform, how people don't believe you struggle with autism, OCD,
yeah.
FASD. They're like, this kid definitely doesn't have all
Yep.
these diagnoses. Like, why?
Yeah.
I am curious, like, what on earth would make them say that? But how does
Yeah.
that make you feel? And
I-
what's your take?
Yeah, it's very interesting. People do say that. People say like, oh, he's faking autism. People say he doesn't have OCD or whatever. I don't see. I think more autism thing because they just want to. His thing. When people say they're faking, well, first of all, they're not me. They didn't grow up with me. They didn't grow. They didn't grow up with my childhood. They don't understand how many doctors and therapists I've seen growing up my entire life. I've been seeing doctors my entire life since I was little. Well, my mom had to like force me to the doctor's appointments. I was throwing a meltdown in the parking lot. I didn't want. I was on medication. It was a mess when you were growing up. Like seeing like therapists going to like, there's so many like my mom put me. I had an IEP growing up. Like so much going on. So me, Sam, if anything, I think not to trigger other people, but I think I'm more autistic than most people. I think actually most people who say they have autism might not even have autism. I think I'm actually a rare person who has autism. I don't know if that's good to say, but I'm just saying that if anyone says like, oh, I think because I have not, I think because people do say that. Like people will say like, oh, they're like, oh, what did us will come out one day like I'm autistic. But for instance, me, I've been growing up my whole entire life, going to doctors, and there's so much help I had to get growing up, that was a struggle for my mom and for me. So if anyone says you're faking autism, they don't understand that I do have autism, not only professionally diagnosed autism, but I myself know of autism because the way how other people perceive me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like, anyone who says, definitely the people in my life, friends or anyone in my life that says that you don't have autism, here's the thing. Those same people want to find ways to pick on you.
Yeah.
Those same people want to say you don't have autism because they want to feel like well, if I can say that Aaron doesn't have autism, I can overly joke with Aaron and still not say he has autism. They don't want to take the responsibility to understand that Aaron has autism, so they can't joke around with him too far without him not even understanding the joke. Or they want to find ways to pick on Aaron because they can if they don't believe he has autism. They believe you have because it's messed up to pick on. People can pick on me. I don't care. But it's the fact that people, if they say that you don't have autism, it gives them a reason to be like, oh, I don't believe Aaron has autism, so I'm gonna overly joke with Aaron. I'm gonna joke with Aaron so much because I know I can, because I'll get a rise out of him and he won't understand it. But I'm still not gonna take responsibility to believe he has autism. That's what it is. So people online will just say because they also don't want to expect, they don't want to accept the responsibility to understand that the things I say might come off rude. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. I like to speak on how my mind thinks. And I built, growing my entire life, my mom always said, oh, Aaron's rude, Aaron's rude, Aaron's rude. I'm not being rude. I'm just being how my mind thinks. I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, the long story is like, yeah, people who say Aaron's faking autism, I'm far from that. I'll be honest with you. Actually, I myself, I overthink. I overthink it. I even think, am I faking autism? Am I autistic? And I kind of go back to like, well, my doctor said I'm autistic. Then I go back to my life growing up, like, oh, I meet pretty much a lot of my requirements of being autistic. And it's like people question me, begin to me questioning myself, to me overthinking, to me thinking like, well, maybe I should act normal. Well, if I act normal, then people also think, well, you're acting weird now.
But what even is that? Normal?
So it's like, so if I act weird, if I don't act autistic, people will think like I'm overly weird. I'm being weird now. If I like, meaning it's called masking. If I'm masking, they're like, I overly become someone else. So when I mask autism, I become someone else.
You're attempting to be.
I'm becoming like, I find characters in movies. I'll find other YouTubers or other people. I'll mask that person and I will act like them. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day I might even act like Elon Musk. You know what I mean? All depends who I want to be that day. If I unmask myself, I'm Aaron. I'm myself, and I begin to, so it's like, so I try to act Aaron best I can. I try to act myself best I can, but when I mask myself, And I try to be someone else. I try to be like someone else, like other people want me to be. I began looking at like why I like I don't know. It's like I don't know how to explain. But yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard for me to be high functioning autistic that I am, rather than be like I remember being I remember being like in a library with my mom. My mom was like some kid was like flapping his arm and screaming. My mom was like, "You could have been like that." It's almost better to be like that because people want to be like
People wouldn't question your
yeah,
autism.
well, people would accept me more like, "Oh, Aaron's actually autistic." But me being so high functioning to have an interview with you, be able to drive here, be able to build a social media platform I have, and build a skateboard the way I do, it doesn't look like Aaron's autistic until you live with me, until you've grown up with me, and then you'll realize that you won't be able to even function with me and live with me, and be able to be my possibly not even be my friend or be able to take because I'm so strange and I'm so hard to live with,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it's very So yeah, people also say that I'm over what is it called? Over traumatizing my autism.
Over what?
Traumatizing is that the
Over
word? You think? Dramatizing.
Dramaticizing.
Dramatizing my autism. Like, I'm overdoing my autism.
Why would one do that?
People say that. The thing is that I think people don't realize that I don't understand my own brain. If anything, I'm trying to figure out how my brain works. It's like I'm gonna be more autistic today. It's like I'm trying to figure out how to be autistic. That's what I'm trying to figure out. How do you be autistic? Everyone tells you to be this way, It's like, how do you be autistic? So I had that problem. Like, do I make eye contact? Do I not make eye contact?
Mm-hmm.
Eye contact. If I make eye contact, does that mean I'm not autistic? Like, do I shake this person's hand, or do I fist bump them? If I shake the person's hand, maybe I can knock off the autism diagnosis.
Wow.
So it's very like So people tell me like Aaron's not autistic, or people tell me, or just doing a lot of research on autism. It's like you have to be this way, being autistic. So at the end of the day, I don't even know how to be autistic. I just realized I can be myself, and people will perceive me as weird. That's all I know.
Something that came to mind was your FASD. You said you didn't even want. You go back and forth with taking that accepting that diagnosis. What does that even? What does FASD even mean?
FASD
like,
is
why
fetal,
do you have your
FASD is fetal alcohol spectrum disorder.
And why do you have a hard time?
It's not I have a hard time accepting. It's like I don't know what's wrong with my brain sometimes because my mom will say you have this. My doctor will say you have this. Another doctor will say you don't have this. Another doctor say you have this. I've seen probably 10 doctors or whatever my entire life. I've seen a lot, and people will say you don't have this, and someone will say you have this. Another person you don't have this, you don't have this. Like back and forth. So I decided to ask my dad, like, did my mom drink inside the stomach? And he was like, oh, yeah, she did that, and she did like drugs, like coke, whatever. So I kind of like, okay, if he's saying that, then most likely I have FASD. My mom says I have FASD. My doctor, my psychologist, who's a very good psychologist, she was like, I don't think he has FASD because look at the way he talks, or look at the way he does things. Like she was explaining certain things in my life I was doing. She was like, he's too, and I was also told that I had a low IQ. My doctor thinks it's like he doesn't have low IQ. If anything, I think I have the opposite of a low IQ. But my mom insists that I have a low IQ. But I feel like, to me, being told that I have an intellectual disability, that I have, that I'm slow, mid retardation, it doesn't seem like, it's like, how can I? I mean, I know I have not that only I have a social media page, but I do all my stuff alone. I find brands to work with. I do everything myself. I come up with my merchandise. I have so many things I do myself, and I think, how can I have an intellectual disability
if you're capable of all this?
I wrote a whole book.
Yeah.
I wrote a whole book. Put a whole documentary together myself. So I was like, how can I? If I had an intellectual disability, how can I have done all this stuff? The only thing that I feel like that I have an intellectual disability is my living skills suck. I mix up words sometimes. I have a stuttering problem sometimes, and I suck at math. I'm terrible at math. In other schooling, I'm very like bad at the whole schooling stuff. So besides that, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I can't figure things out a lot. I like solving problems. Like I need to constantly ask for help. Like, how do I figure this out? How do I figure this out? You know, that's pretty normal in my 20s, right? But I would say that I overly ask. I constantly need help with a lot of things in my life. I constantly need help with like how do I figure this out? How do I? It's like if I go to DMV, how do I figure this out? How do I figure this out?
That's good. Like, one of my biggest struggles in life was asking for help and being okay with asking for help. And the process was like, Laisha, how are you going to have all the answers? Like, it's genuinely okay to ask for help. So was it hard for you for a while to ask for assistance with things?
Well,
I feel like that also comes...
Well, when I went to doctor's appointments, growing up, when I went to doctor's appointments, I wouldn't talk, really. I want my mom to do all the talking, pretty much. And so I would sit in silence, pretty much. So they're trying to like figure me out what's wrong with my brain, I think. And I would sit there just silent. I was too afraid to talk. They were saying my real thoughts. Or I didn't know how to say my real thoughts. You know? So yeah, I like to keep a lot of things in, but not anymore. I learned to just say whatever I want to say because that helps me. I used to keep everything inside, all my thoughts inside, blah, blah. And I realized that, like, because it's been like this my entire life. The way I speak has been like this my entire life. The way I say things my entire life. You know, but the thing is, I've learned to understand and realize this is me. I'm going to say whatever I want. Now, it can be problems because it can get people riled up, want to maybe not like me, maybe even want to fight me because I say things that's on my mind. But I've learned if I say things on my mind, it's going to help me understand my brain more, and it's going to understand people around me. If I keep things hidden inside, it's going to not show who I really am. So it's really good to show who you really are.
It is.
Hide it.
When we first started, you were kind of almost, you had a fear that you were going to offend me in our conversation today.
Yeah.
But is there anything that like really offends you? Like, is there something that like...
Yeah.
What offends you?
I hate when people say I'm faking autism.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that, oh, Aaron doesn't have mental health. Aaron doesn't live with mental health. Aaron, OCD is not real. OCD is real. I hate when people say that stuff because it makes you realize, like, I want to take those people who say that and I want them to live with me. I want them to live with me. I want to spend a whole day with me. And then they can be like, then those same people will be like, why are you back? Why'd you say that, bro? Why are you acting all weird, bro? Those same people will say that. But those same people don't want to accept that you're autistic. They want to find ways to. I don't know what it is. But that does trigger me. I'm not gonna lie, because it's hard to live with my conditions. It really is hard. I mean, you've been around me for how long? A little bit, and you're very like. I mean, it's even for you, like you're very careful with me, but you're also very like that's. Would I be hard to live with? Yes or no?
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing for you, and like finding the people you surround yourself with, your friends or support group, like that's huge. Just finding those right people that can be patient with you.
Oh, and another thing too, I hate when people make remarks of like people make jokes about like I'll joke around about I don't really joke around about autism, but people will joke around it. People close to me will joke around with it. People will joke around with it, like meaning like they'll make little remarks about it, like kind of like, like they'll just say little remarks about my autistic stuff. Like Aaron, do you like Aaron, like you should tell the world that you're faking autism. I'm like, bro, it makes you like joking or not, it makes me realize like they don't realize like that's like traumatizing to me because they don't realize that. How much therapy, how much doctors I had to see. They don't realize how much it affects my life. People don't realize that. So I'm very offensive about that. Which I need to realize like people aren't going to believe it. Not everyone's going to.
And it's just all about staying true. You know your truth.
I know my truth. I know how I am. I know who I am. It's just the fact that, and I know, I asked my mom about that, kind of similar, and she was like, not everyone's going to understand you. She's on told me, not everyone's going to understand you. Not everyone has to understand you. You don't have to understand me. She doesn't have to understand me. No one has to understand me. No one has to, live with it either. Mm-hmm.
Another question I had, you said your mom did drugs and substances. Well, you said your mom drank and used substances when you were in the womb. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about addiction? And if you have any questions about addiction, I'm personally somebody who struggled with it. So.
Oh yeah, you did. You struggled with addiction, right?
Yeah, but like, what I want to understand your thoughts. Like, is it something that you kind of understand?
Yes, I understand addiction. My friend, one of my good friends, Misha he was actually just in rehab in Utah, and he struggled with like addiction. And he probably would have died. He didn't go to rehab. His dad sent him to rehab. So I'm very like, I don't know too much about addiction, but I do know that it affects people. I know it affected me. I know like I affected my brain. I don't know how autism is created, but I do know my mom did do drugs, when I was in the womb. I do know she drank, so I'm assuming autism and FASD did play in that. I do believe that. So I do think that you shouldn't smoke. I've never smoked before in my life. I never drank my entire life. I never done any type of drug in my entire life.
Is there a reason for that?
I think there's a background. I think a lot of it has come down to Christianity.
Yeah.
Of my mom kind of shoving things in my face. No offense, but it's kind of like, when you're growing up, like this, you're bad if you do this, you're bad if you do this. I think as an adult, I can make my own decisions. I can go smoke weed if I want to. I can make my own decisions, but I decided morally I don't want to, because not only do I feel like it's wrong, but I feel like I do know that there's a chance that it could ruin my body. I don't want to get I don't want problems to happen. I don't want problems with my heart, my kidneys, things like that.
That's honestly a good thing.
I don't want to have health problems as I get older too. I also think that if I did if I drank, I think God, there's a chance that God could punish me.
Yeah.
As He might give me I don't know, blood cancer or something if I drink.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Blood cancer?
I think so. It's the deadliest cancers, I think. What do you think about? Do you think autism is real?
100%. I believe mental health.
What if you were autistic? Okay, hypothetically speaking, you were autistic. You were diagnosed with autism. Oh, another thing about autism is, what do you think about self-diagnosis?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I have a lot to talk about self-diagnosis, bro. A lot.
I think self-diagnosing can be comforting. Like when we say we feel like we're having weird thoughts, or we're craving weird things, or there's a part of our body that is in pain. Yeah. We Google that shit, and finding an answer and seeing oh my God, I'm feeling all those symptoms. Yeah. It's comforting to think that it's okay, I found the answer and then find the solution. But I don't recommend self-diagnosing. But me personally, I'm somebody who does not like to see doctors or go to the doctor and make appointments. Yeah. So I'd rather self-diagnose than go get diagnosed. Yes, but I self-diagnose with addiction.
Yes.
Because that is actually something that it's almost recommended you self-diagnose with, because that's you coming to into acceptance that this is something that's crippling you in a sense, and that you need to seek help for.
I believe so. Self-diagnosis, I wouldn't say I'm against, but I was against, but kind of at the same time I am against, because self-diagnosis autism is it's anyone. It's okay. Imagine you are imagine if you are having you have a little bit of insecurity. Maybe you're at a party and you feel a little I'm a little nervous, right? Does that mean you're autistic? No. So I think some people will diagnose themselves as autistic if they're a little strange. If they feel a little strange, they're like, "Oh, I'm autistic." But there's not a lot of but do they have background of a lot of things they've been struggling with in schooling, doctor's appointments, that kind of stuff. I look at it as that's what I would look at it as before I got diagnosed with autism, they didn't diagnose me. They looked at my whole background, bro. They looked at my IP. They looked at my schooling. My mom sat in the room to explain things. It was very it was a process. It's been a process my whole life, actually, getting diagnosed with stuff. But so self-diagnosis is anyone could be going online, look at some stuff I'm autistic. It's good to do that. I've done research on things. I've done research on autism. The thing is, I think it's good to get official diagnosis to actually officially say that you are autistic, instead of, and don't get me wrong, Doctors misdiagnose things all the time.
Yes.
I've been doctors after doctors, like I explained, and they will say that you have this. 2 different doctors said that I don't have FASD, and then but then these people say I have FASD. One person says that I said that I didn't have Asperger's, and then this person says I do have Asperger's. It doesn't matter what people. It's like doctors will be all over the place. It's good for you to go research to figure out what you actually have, and then go to the doctors and say, I think I have this. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
I actually kind of agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. So if you feel like if you have OCD or you're autistic, research it and then write down everything that you feel like you have, memorize it, go to the doctors and say, I think I have poor living skills. I think I have poor eye contact. I think blah blah all the symptoms, and they might say, I think you have autism. Let's look at your background maybe. Let's see have you struggled with this your entire life. That's what you should do.
I think where I have a problem with self-diagnosing is that say you self-diagnose yourself with autism or ADD or ADHD, and then you just start going around telling everybody that you have those things and you're making it a part of your identity.
And you don't.
And when you might not know the first thing about it, and you've never talked to an actual doctor about those things. That's where I feel like that's kind of annoying, a little bit of an issue, and I personally don't agree with it.
Imagine telling me you're autistic and you have OCD, but you never did in the first place. I get scared about that sometimes. My whole social media page, my whole like online everything is about autism and OCD pretty much. Imagine if I saw another doctor and she was like, you know what, Aaron, I don't think you have autism. I'm like, whoa, I was a fat. Whoa, what do I do now?
Because it feels almost like a part of your identity.
Yeah, so it's really strongly, I believe, to not even go off what a doctor says. You want to, like, I was professionally diagnosed, right? But I also did research. I've also asked my mom. I also, a lot of things before we really got officially diagnosed. And I do believe that it is very important. And I still want to go see doctors and figure out what's wrong with my brain. I'm very I feel like, dude, when you go through your entire life getting told you have different things, it makes you want to see the best doctor in the world and like what is exactly wrong with me. But at the end of the day, you're never gonna really know what's really wrong with you. Only person that knows what's wrong with you is you and God. Only person. You yourself know you're the best out of everyone. So I know myself best out of everyone. I question myself all the time. What's wrong with my brain? I don't know what's wrong with my brain. I don't even know myself what's wrong with my brain. But at the end of the day, I do go off of what people told me, but I go off of symptoms that I have compared to other autistic people too.
Mm-hmm.
Are you upset with your mom for drinking?
No, not at all. I'm kind of glad she did. Because it made me who I am. If she didn't drink, I might have came out like a normal person. I don't want to be normal. That's boring. I like being different. I mean, I wish I was a little smarter in certain areas, but to be honest, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do social media if I was normal. I would be boring. I mean, I think you're a little different, don't you think? You're not normal.
Why do you think I'm different?
You just are. I mean, I think you are. You think you're normal?
I don't know.
Look at the way you dress. Look at the way you dress. I mean, you dress cool, but I'm saying I think there's people who are normal, and then there's people who are different. People who are just unique, they're a little different, I think. They have a different creative mindset. They're different.
I think
anyone who does social media is different because they have a creative mindset. There's a different, but besides difference and disability, there's a difference. I'm different. But also, I'm proclaimed as disability or whatever. But, I think Samantha here, she's normal. She dresses normal. She's normal.
I don't know how I feel about this normal and different I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me, but I can't put it to words why it doesn't sit right. I really don't know how to put it to words. It's just, I think in a sense we're all different. Even normal people are different from each other in their own ways.
That's true.
I feel like that's the best way I can put it.
This is how I put it. Imagine Legos, okay? There's a group of Legos. They're all bald-headed Legos, the white Legos, okay? And then there's that dinosaur, that special dinosaur. I perceive different as that I'm going to go to that different dinosaur. I'm going to go to that dinosaur because it's different. It's special.
It stands out.
Stands out and special. Then there's all the other frat boy looking Legos, you know, all the normal, typical Lego looking people. Boring, right? I want that dinosaur. So that's what I go towards. So when I say different, is like that's how I perceive different, is that dinosaur.
Okay.
And everyone else's Legos. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand what you mean. I
Okay.
really do. But I would like to think every human is different, but I understand where it's like but it's like you're putting certain people in a group of like, oh, you're the same. And then
Okay.
another group of, oh, you're the same. Does that make sense?
No.
It's okay. That's the
I
best
think
I can do.
I think that I think everyone's different, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. But there's people who are just supposed to be grown up in Ohio, push up babies, white, work at factories, and that's it. Die, and that's it.
And you consider that normal.
That's just normal. You know, normal, just normal. Then there's people who are like in the creativity space, entertainment space, or people who are doing, I don't know, things like that. They're not really normal. I feel like they're not. There's a lot of creativity in their mind that they're trying to figure out. So their brain's going like all over the place. So that's why I perceive it as normal.
For sure.
You know. That's why it's like you're not normal. You're traveling the world doing these podcasts. C's somewhat normal, but mainly normal because you just typical. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? School. You know, went to college, master's degree. You know.
The unconventional route. You think we took an unconventional route?
Yeah, I can imagine you working at Panera Bread. Maybe I could, but I don't think that's like your. I don't think you feel
Yeah,
like
I would thrive there.
You're
Does anybody thrive
I feel
working
like
at Panera Bread?
I feel like you're too creative in a way, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Would I say that?
Yeah. Would you say you're too creative to work at Panera Bread?
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't feel fulfilled.
Exactly.
What makes you believe in God so strongly?
Oh, so why do I believe in God so strongly? I think that we live in a world that is very like crazy, right? But I think about it as like, how is the sun aligning with the earth so perfectly? How is our hearts beating so perfectly? How does things like that? How, there's so many things I think about. Why is there like there's so many things I think about? Like, I think about like that. Like someone crazy how to make that. Somebody had a crazy how to make everything so perfectly, like organs and kidneys to beat so perfectly, and to work so perfectly. Something crazy how to make that, So that's why I believe in God. I feel like, I felt like I felt to me that I've asked God. I prayed before multiple times, and he would show me things that I needed to see, and that made me feel like I maybe believe in Him even more. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get mad at God. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't even want to even believe in Him. Or sometimes I feel like, do I believe in God? Because sometimes bad things happen. I'm like, bro, why is God putting these intrusive thoughts in my brain? Sometimes you want to yell at God, but at the end of the day, I know that's also again the devil trying to tear you down to not believe in God. The last thing the devil wants is me to believe in God. So there's a lot of things. I've also tried to live in like the world. I've tried to live in lust. I try to live in a lot, and I still live in lust. We're bad, right? So I mean, this girl, we're bad. So at the end of the day, but I try not to live in lust. But I've tried a lot of things I've shouldn't have done, and live this way, and it only brings destruction. That's what I've learned. So when I live like Jesus, I've learned a lot of things come into place in my life. Like, this is working very smoothly right now, and I feel a lot better, comforting. I can feel there's a lot of things in my life that are coming together because I'm following Jesus' footsteps rather than following my own footsteps and what I want, what my needs want, what my heart wants. I'm following what Jesus wants. And when I do that, I realize that like a puzzle comes into place. Well, and again, I'm a hypocrite. So everything I said there might not even be true because I am a hypocrite. I like to say that because it comes back down to like, I messed up, bro. So I don't have to preach about God sometimes because I feel like I'm not good enough to preach about God. But
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, dude.
So what do you think your purpose is?
What do you think my purpose is? I think my purpose is, I have a few purposes. I feel like my purpose is to be online, to show my social media skills, but to show how works in the community of autistic people, OCD. I also feel like my purpose is to show my experience, how I have my Christianity, to show the people the way I walk. That doesn't have to be perfect. That's my, you can mess up, and you can mess up and still have a good life, and not have to beat yourself to it, beat yourself down for the things you do. That's what I think my purpose is. I'll be honest with you.
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on the podcast today.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.